Hey folks, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with your NBA playoff previews and predictions for a Saturday, May 29th. Hope you're having yourself a good start to your weekend. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right-hand corner or hit the subscribe button below this video if you're watching on a mobile device. Today's podcast brought to you by bballpicks.com. Anybody can play, anybody can join, and you want to follow the top pickers right now at bballpicks.com. Pro line Mike Anthony is at 844. Chris Fatty Kalaja is at 797, and yours truly, Ron Raymond, at 773, leading the top three scorers right here at bballpicks.com. All right, let's get to those four games here today, and I got a special segment after this. We're going to do a strength of schedule of each team, how they do against their opponent, A, B, or C type team in the Raymond Report, and home and away, and I got a matchup report for each team, so you want to check that out after I do the forecast. Now, Philadelphia taking on the Washington Wizards. Now, the Sixers, a 6.5 point road favorite in this one. The over-under set at 226.5. ATS forecast, computer pick. Gonna go with Philly in this one. 114.9, 111.6. The over-under at 226.5. My line of this game, I had the Sixers at minus 5.77. And you are laying 6.5, so you can see they're a bit overvalued. Philly's on a 4-game win streak. Their chance of covering is at 40%, but 39% for the Wizards. My line on the Wizard was plus 1.97, and the Kogel, the chance of this game going over the total today is at 41%, meaning a 59% chance of this game going under the total. Utah Jazz taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, the Jazz entered this game as a 5.5 point road favorite. The over-under set at 224. ATS forecast, computer pick, gonna go with the Jazz in this one. 116 to 113. The over-under at 229.3. Memphis losing their last game to Utah, 141-129. And looking at my line on this game, I had the Jazz at minus 9.02, and you're getting 5.5, so you're getting good value. And also for the Grizzlies, I had them at 0.94. You're getting plus 5.5 at home. Really good value today on the Grizzlies. Milwaukee taking on the Miami Heat. Now the Bucks have a stranglehold in this series, 3-0. And Miami's they're in big trouble here. Losers of 3 straight, and it's the way they're losing. 113-84 in their last game. This is a game I'm not even going to touch with a 10-foot pole. I see the forecast here going with the Bucks, 115 to 113, the over-under at 228.6. But when you hear rumblings that the chemistry is not well, and there's issues, Eric Spoelstra's got a big job to do today, and we'll see how he can rally the troops. But again, I don't think I'm going to touch this game here today. Denver taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Now this series tied at 1. And looking at the games, last game was a 120-115 win for the Denver Nuggets over the Trailblazers, and the bookmakers have made Portland a 4-point favorite in this one. The over/under set at 227. ATS forecast, computer pick, gonna go with the home team here. Portland Trailblazers, 116 to 112. The over/under set at 228.43. Looking at my line in this game, I had Portland at minus 1.58, so you're getting the overvalued team on the Trailblazers. And for the Denver Nuggets, I had them listed at minus 4.86, so you're getting really good value on the Denver Nuggets. Now, I have a tool here at atsstats.com. It's called the Parity Value Strength of Schedule. And what I do in this with this tool is I analyze how does, in the Raymond Report, I have three teams that I call A, B, and C type teams. A type teams are teams that are 60 above or higher in the standings. B type teams are 50 to 59.9. And C-type teams are teams below 500, right? And how does the Philadelphia 76ers do on the road against a team that is a C-type team in the Washington Wizards? And I'm going to bring up both their charts so you can see the comparison. So this season, when Philadelphia is on the road against teams below 500, now the line here today is 6.5 and 226.5. So look at Philadelphia's record. So I always talk about perception versus reality, right? The perception is what the bookmaker's line is. That's what he thinks he can get action on both sides of the ledger of the public, right? He can get half the room betting one side, the other half this side. So according to the bookmaker, anytime Philadelphia is on the road and they're facing a team below 500, the average line is minus 8.1. So these are all the teams that Philly has faced this season on the road that were C-type teams at the game time of that date. And minus 8.1, and looking at the total was 220.7. Now, that's perception. Here's the reality. The reality is they normally won 111 to 103, and they were 9-6 against the spread, 10-5 straight up, and 6-9 to the number. Now, you look at Washington at home against A-type teams, so teams that are Utah, Milwaukee, Philly, Clippers, all the alphas, right? So the average line for the Washington Wizards was plus 7.25. So you can see there's the average line was 7.25, and you're getting plus 6.5. So it doesn't meet the required average that normally it takes. But here's that's the perception, and the perception of the total is 230.39, and we are at 226.5. So from a perception point of view, it's 4 points lower than what the bookmaker is posting line today. But here's the reality. The reality is Washington normally loses by 3, 122 to 125 at home against these A-type teams. They're 5-4 against the point spread, 4-5 to the number, but look at this, 8-1 to the over. So when Washington's at home against those A-type teams, 8-1 to the over, and for the Sixers, 6-9 to the under. So it's unfortunate that this number here doesn't match it, but keep in mind the perception number is 220, right? And we're at 226.5, so there's a 6-point difference. So I think the over in that game is where you want to lean between the Wizards and the Sixers. Let's take a look at the other game here. And again, this is a nice tool because I always talk about perception versus reality. There's a market psychology of what the bookmaker has to observe and think where the betting public's going to bet, but then there's the reality, perception versus reality, and these are what I'm showing you here is the reality of what happens when those numbers are posted, right? So Utah on the road, so you can see Memphis is a B-type team. So when Memphis is on the road, Utah is on the road against a B-type team. Here's their the perception is that the line is normally 4.8, so you round it off, it's at 5. So we're pretty close to fair market value on the Jazz. The total, look at this though, they've always been a favorite, never an underdog. And the total is 223.8, and the total today is 224. So nothing has changed in that respect. And so, this is what I like. The fact that the numbers are the same from the perception. Now let's go look at the reality. The reality is they normally lose by 3. So the road score here is 110 to 113. So this tells me there's probably good value here on the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're 3-6 against the number, 4-5 straight up, and 3-6 to the under. So I think Memphis, from that strength of schedule, and whenever Utah has played those type of teams, you can tell that there's good value on the home team here. So getting +5 today is pretty good value. Let's see how Memphis does in this situation against A-type teams. So the perception is, as an underdog, they're normally a 7.5. So they're getting a little bit of respect here at 5.5, which is good if you like Memphis. The perception on the total is 224, so say 225, and actually 224. That's where the number's at, right? 224, and we're at, you round it off, 225, so it does lean to the under. But look at this. Look at the under record. 1-9 to the under. 1-9. So that's against A-type teams. So, in my rule of thumb is when I look at my parlay rule of thumb, if you like underdogs, you take the under. If you like the favorites, you always take the under. So it fits right into my my rule of thumb here of home team, underdog, and the under. Look at that, and 1-9 to the under. That's pretty amazing. All right, let's take a look at the next game here, and I'm gonna go back right here. So Milwaukee. Now the thing about this game is, from an analytical point of view, yeah, the numbers, I can't trust the numbers today because of the situational stuff that's involving Miami. Miami right now is, from a team chemistry point of view, and we're on the outside. We don't know what's going on in that locker room, but from the perception is that, things, you hear rumbling, so it really plays into your psyche on, do I really want to, bet on a team, on a game where one team is, house of cards right now. But looking at Milwaukee here, so Milwaukee's facing Miami, a B-type team. So when Milwaukee's on the road against B-type teams, the perception is they are a favorite of -4.81, and they're overvalued today at 5.5, and the perception of the total is 225. So it's at 221, so it's going under. And the reality is they normally win by 10, 117 and 107, and they're 4-4-1 against the point spread, 6-3 straight up, and 3-6 to the under. And when Miami's at home against an A-type team like Milwaukee, they're normally a 2.8 point underdog from that role, and they're also But if they were, when they play A-type teams, if they're a favorite, they're normally 3.6, but 2.8, and you're getting plus 5.5 again. But the thing is, the situational stuff with the chemistry of that team, I just don't trust right now. 217 is normally the number against A-type teams, and the reality, 106, 106. So you're looking at a tie, and then 4 and 5, 5 and 4, and 3 and 6 to the under. Maybe the under in that game is where you want to lean. And let's take a look at the last one here, the last game of the day, Denver, and we have Portland. This is gonna be a great game. This will be a great game here today, and you got an A and a B. So Denver's an A-type team, and Portland's a B. So let's take a look at Denver first. So Denver on the road against B-type teams. The reality is they're normally a 3.2 underdog. They're getting plus 4, so they're getting good value. The total is normally 220.4, and it's over 227 today, so it's overvalued. Let's take it. Well, it'll be interesting to see what's called the Portland line. So the reality 109 and 109. So again, that favors if you like Denver plus 4. But here, Denver. One thing with Denver I noticed this year, this team they win, but they don't cover a lot of games. They'll win the game, but they don't cover a lot. 6 and 4 straight up, and 5 and 5. So that's very, very tight. When it comes to numbers, right? All right, for the Portland Trailblazers at home against A-type teams, normally they're favored by 4.3, right there in the ballpark at 4. So that's fair market value. 227.8 fair market value on the total, and they normally lose by 4. Look at that, 116 and 112. So Denver getting good value today. 2 and 7 straight up, 4 and 5 against the number, 5 and 4. So looking at the strength of schedule, when teams face a certain type of team, and think about that, when a team faces a certain type of team, the team that looks a lot like each other, like when you look at A-type teams, right? So you're looking at teams like, where is it here? Denver, Clippers, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Indiana at the beginning. Look at the date, right? That was right from the beginning. But that's when the bookmakers didn't really know Indiana wasn't going to be that good, even though they had a better second half. But all these teams here, this is how Portland does. And there's a mindset when they face those type teams, right? There's a public mindset that the bookmaker, the market psychology, the perception, but always go to the reality, and that's the numbers. And that's why, folks, it might be Portland against Denver, but in reality, it's the bookmaker's number against yours, perception versus reality, and you got to make a decision on where you want to go with your money, if you want to bet perception or you want to bet reality. All right, little bonus edition today of the Raymond Report. Would love to hear your feedback on that. If you enjoy the show, give it a like. If you don't, give it a dislike. Like I say, I always got broad shoulders, and hopefully you guys enjoy the show today. And good luck with your wagers today for a Saturday, May 29th. As always, shop for value. Play those percentages. We'll see you back here on Sunday with another Raymond Report. Cheers.